there were times on the weekends after school, I would literally wake up, start watching porn. It would be light outside. I'd happen to look up and it would be pitch black. Hours and hours consuming pornography. It was actually so bad at one point that I remember clicking on videos and realizing that I'd already seen that video, and sometimes multiple times, because I just became so familiar with the different spaces where I would go and consume porn. And I'll never forget the times where I would finish, I would go take a shower, and sometimes I would cry, but sometimes I was so in shock and so grieved inwardly that I would just stand in the shower, and as hard as I would try to scrub myself clean, I felt so dirty. And I just kept saying, God, I want to be clean. I want to be clean. I want to be clean. But I kept trying to do things to earn this redemption, right? But there was something in me that just felt so separated from God. And I remember just crying out to God, and I was saying, God, I don't want this. I don't want this. I remember sitting down at my desk, and I just remember the Holy Spirit saying so clearly. It wasn't like I heard the audible voice of God, but it was that inner voice. And Jesus just said so sweetly, just give it to me. Just give it to me. And the wrestle was so intense. I was like, God, what are people going to say? They're going to kick me out of the church. They're going to kick me off the leadership team for sure. They're going to, I can't do this. I can't do this. This has got to go to the grave. Like, me and you, we can just do this together. We can just hash this out together and nobody has to know. And he just kept saying so sweetly, so patiently, just give it to me. God was showing me that that's what sin was doing in my life, is that sin was coming in between me and Jesus, and I wasn't able to interact with him in the way that I wanted to because I was consciously allowing this thing to stay in between me and him. And I want to have this relationship with you. I want to have this intimacy with you. So I've got to let this go. On my lunch break, only had 30 minutes, but I sobbed my guts out and I repented to God. And this time it was different. I think before I was just so annoyed with my guilty conscience that I was just like, God, I'm sorry, because I didn't want to feel guilty anymore. But this time was different because it wasn't about my guilty conscience. It was about, I want Jesus, and whatever it takes. If they kick me out of the church, I don't care. Whatever it takes, I want Jesus. And so I made the decision to tell my leadership. I told my parents. And don't get me wrong, I had to have some really hard conversations. I had to be honest with myself in a way that I wasn't willing to be honest with myself in the past. But I was free.